I'd like to welcome everybody this evening. My name is Vicki Porter. I'm chairperson of the Cabarrus Soil and Water Conservation District Board. So on behalf of the supervisors and staff of the district, we would welcome you to the 50th Annual Public Speaking Contest and Conservation Contest Award Ceremony. So each year, Cabarrus Soil and Water Conservation District hosts 9 total conservation contests for grades 3 through 9, including a separate poster contest for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade each. An essay contest for 6th grade, a computer design slideshow contest also for 6th grade, a separate public speaking contest for both 7th and 8th grade, and a computer design poster contest for 9th grade. This year, the contest theme is Water, the Cycle of Life, and we had a total of 900, Cabarrus County students participate in all of our conservation contests combined. So we look forward to celebrating all of our winners at our Stewardship Banquet in April. Every year that banquet grows and grows, and that's always a good sign to us that we're reaching further. And I have to always say thank you to the teachers and parents, because it is a stretch of your normal day to go to this level, and we appreciate it because this is the way we're educating our students and therefore making potential adults that are going to understand the conservation component and help us and maybe stand up here and do this and fulfill our shoes one day. So we appreciate it. So I appreciate again and thank you for what you do to support these students and their achievement. We also recognize that without the friends and the family, these kids might not have the opportunity to participate in events like this. So I would like for you to join me in a round of applause for our teachers, our students, and our parents. At this time, I'd like to introduce our supervisors and our Soil and Water Conservation District staff that's present here tonight. We have with us Supervisor Lewis Souther. And for our staff members of the district, we have Daniel McClellan, Tammy Remsburg, and Clint Brooks. Thank you guys for being here. Representing our county, we have Kelly Sifford, Cabarrus County Director of Planning and Development. And we're expecting our special guest, Mike Downs, Cabarrus County Manager. So we appreciate it again. I'd like to thank, at this time, our judges here this evening who are volunteering their time and expertise to support this environmental education effort. Judges, if you don't mind, would you please stand and introduce yourselves and briefly tell students why you're interested in this event? Yes, start here.
Well, I guess they wanted me to go first since I'm on the end, so I'm Lynn Shue. I'm Cabarrus County Commissioner, and I've done this 2 or 3 times in the past, and it's something for the kids and to help them, establish themselves in relations to soil and water, and it's a good way to help them get across the hurdles that a lot of kids don't get the opportunity to do.
Thank you.
I'm Wendy Tate. I'm the president of the Master Gardener Group, and I used to work as a speaker, so I know a little bit about it. But I've always loved working with kids, and especially junior high school age. I want to encourage people to learn to speak publicly. I think it's really important to be able to stand up in front of people, and it tends to be something people are terrified to do. Give them a positive and supportive place to do it. I think it's great.
I'm Debbie Foster. I am a Central Carolina's Master Naturalist, a habitat steward, host, and ambassador with the National Wildlife Federation, a co-founder of a North Carolina Wildlife Federation chapter, an Audubon ambassador, a Mecklenburg County Master Composter, and an Audubon ambassador. So I am an unabashed tree hugger. But in addition to that, I also taught communication skills at the college level for 30 years. So I really enjoy doing things like this, and I've done this at least half a dozen times now. I come up most years to do this.
Well, I did this last year.
I'm Mandy Smith-Thompson. I'm the environmental educator for the city of Concord, and a lot of the work that I do focuses on teaching folks about water. And I do a lot of public speaking myself. I think it's an incredibly important skill, and this topic could not be more important or vital to every living thing on the planet. So I'm glad to be here tonight.
Thank you. thank you for your dedication, your time to these students. We'll begin our evening with a public speaking contest, followed by an intermission while the judges deliberate the winner, during which we will invite you to enjoy snacks outside in the kitchen, or in the kitchen next door, excuse me. We will conclude with the announcement of our public speaking conservation contest winners. Before we begin, I would like to review the rules of the public speaking contest. We would also like to remind you at this time to please make sure your cell phones are turned off or silent. I'd also like to say, and I did this last year, as the judges are marking up their notes, if someone, I think last year, if you just stick your finger up, a hand up, so I'll know you're finished. I don't want to rush you, but I also don't want to stand here if I know you're finished. So if somebody, I'll be watching. If you'll just nod your head so I'll know that we're ready for the next participant, I would appreciate it. All right, I'm going to go over the rules of the public speaking contest. Students are not to introduce themselves, mention schools, or give personal information. 5 points will be subtracted from the final score by the judges if personal information is given. Don't go under or exceed the time limit of 4 to 6 minutes. If any speech is under 4 minutes or over 6 minutes, 5 points will be subtracted from the final score by the judges. Don't use visual aids. 5 points will be subtracted from the final score by the judges if visual aids are used. Excuse me. If you have questions about what constitutes a visual aid, please ask. The scoring criteria is content 50%, speaking skills 50%, and the judge's decision is final. The winners will represent the district at our Area 8 regional contest in March. If the first place contestant is unable to participate, the runner-up contestant will represent the district. Information about this contest will be sent by Tammy to the parents as soon as it is available. For our 7th grade speech contest, I would like to invite contestant number 1 to the podium.
I could stand here and offer you many facts about our world's water supply. Like, water covers over 75% of the Earth's surface, or did you know that 30% of the Earth's water supply, fresh water supply, is in the ground? Approximately over 400 billion gallons of water are used in the United States per day. And in 1 year, the average American uses over 100,000 gallons of water both inside and out. If I did that, it would be a pretty boring speech. So I will not bore you with just the factual information about the importance of water. Today, I plan to challenge you about how our mere existence depends on water and soil conservation. My first challenge to you is to figure out how we can help ensure that my future generation will have clean soil and water. In order to do this, you must have an understanding of the water cycle. Precipitation is a vital component of how the Earth's water moves through the water cycle connecting the ocean, land, and atmosphere. Water evaporates from the surface of the Earth, rises to the atmosphere, cools and condenses into rain or snow and clouds, and falls back again to surface as precipitation. The water falling back on land collects in river, lakes, soil, and rocks. However, most of it flows back into oceans where it will once more evaporate and start the process all over again. For example, that puddle you accidentally stepped in as you were on your way to work this morning will be completely gone by the time you get home this evening, thanks to the wonderful works of evaporation. Water is life, and it is simple as that. A process this simple, however, is so important to our survival. Let me help you in your research to help save water for my future generation. What you can do is plant drought-resistant lawns, shrubs, and plants for your yard. Put a layer of mulch around your trees and plants. Water your lawn only when it is really needed, and do this during the early parts of the day. Check and watch for leaks inside and outside of your home. Take shorter showers and turn the water off after you begin to brush your teeth. You can also use your dishwasher and wash your clothes only when you have a full load. Saving water and being conscious of the water you use in your home did not cost you 1 penny, so why not give it a try? You just may be surprised in what you find. Now, what about the ground that you walk on every day? Let's think about how we as a society can conserve the soil as well as the water we use. Soil loss can be traced back to overusage, erosion, and contamination. Soil conservation is the absolute best way to make sure that we will always have the land we need. We should begin by being conscious of where we build and what we do on the land that we have. Soil erosion removes the topsoil that is necessary for nutrients that are required for plants to grow and bloom. I challenge you to take a few extra steps to live an environmentally friendly lifestyle. If you ever see the soil eroding or damaged, do not just sit back and watch it happen. Be a proactive person and do something about it. We as humans must help the soil the way it helps us. Here's a few things that you should think about that could be simply done during agricultural practices: soil conservation farming, crop rotation, mineralization, and simply earthworms. Yes, I said earthworms. They have great benefits for the soil the way they burrow into the ground and provide plants with super nutrients. Human beings have the most negative effects on our planet. The cycle has to be broken, and awareness must be made sooner rather than later. I have 3 important facts and thoughts to leave with you today. The first is that soil is quite literally the foundation of plant life. A tree would not be a tree without soil. Second, soil supports our precious animal kingdom. It would be virtually impossible to support humans and animals without land. Last, but certainly not least, is that soil is necessary for our water supply. This is the magic of nature. Taking good care of our soil is equal to taking good care of our water supply. Once again, I challenge you to be smart and think about the soil and water that you use daily and plan ahead. Conserve, conserve, conserve.
Have you ever wondered where your water comes from or how it got to your house? Do you know why water is clear or what is in it? Do you ever wonder why it's important to save water? Well, let me tell you. Water is the driving force of all nature, quotes Leonardo da Vinci. Plants, animals, and people need water every day. 75% of Earth is water. It can be found in 3 different ways: water, ice, and water vapor. Water has a cycle called the water cycle. First is evaporation, next is condensation, last is precipitation. Evaporation is when water from a lake, pond, or even a puddle changes into water vapor and rises up into the sky. It is important because it's the start of the water cycle. Condensation is when water vapor cools down and turns into a cloud. Precipitation is when water from the cloud gets too heavy and falls down. It can be in the form of rain, sleet, snow, or hail. This is important because it creates all ponds for ponds and lakes for fun and life. It also gives the driving force of all nature. There are other things in the cycle like runoff, which is when water doesn't sink into the ground and runs on top of the surface into a pond or a stream. There is also groundwater, which is what our wells pump into our houses. Precipitation can cause soil erosion, which is when raindrops hit the soil and make the soil go to different places. This can cause our crops to die and farmers to lose their hard-earned money. Soil conservation requires knowledge due to the outcome that could happen. We have to be conscious of our soil and water conservation so life can continue as we know it. Sylvia Earle is a famous marine biologist. She said, "No water, no life, no blue, no green." We need to save water and use it prudently. Daytona, Florida estimated a leaking faucet wastes about 526 gallons a year. If the whole world had leaking faucets, we would have enough to fill Shamu's tank every month. That's about 1.6 million gallons of water. If we don't save water, the cost of bad water management will skyrocket. Agriculture is a big source of water and is trying to keep from wasting it. Could we be drinking sewage water? The answer is yes. When you flush the toilet, the water is pumped into the sewers and brought to a sewage treatment plant. They say it makes it cleaner than rainwater. The new water is pumped into a lake and sinks back into the ground, which a well pumps back through someone's faucet. There are people and kids across the ocean who are drinking pond and puddle water. People have been doing things to help those that can't get clean water. Some people have been donating and raising money to help give wells to those people. Matt Damon has helped these people with his daughters. He went to India and saw the poverty-stricken villages. He created a charity called Water.org to help raise money for the villages. He said, "You will never solve poverty without solving water and sanitation." People are persuading others to save water. Some people are saving water with agriculture products. 28% of water flows are caused by agriculture. What is most of our water used for? 41% of it is used for thermoelectricity. Pollution is an international synthesizing journal on all aspects of pollution. Over 40% of our lakes are too polluted to fish in because 70% of industrial waste is dumped untreated into waters. If we don't stop pollution, all life on Earth could go extinct. You may wonder why some of our water has a smell. If you have well water, it could be because of contaminated surface runoff in your well. Public water sometimes has a smell because of chlorine. Faucet water could have a smell because of bacteria in the drain, but that's an easy fix with a little disinfectant and washing out. We need to look at how much water we are using. If we don't, we could get into trouble over the years. Anything from no food to no drinking water or even no oxygen. Stephen Curry once said, "Drinking water is essential to a healthy lifestyle." Thank you.
All of us in this room right now are blessed to be able to go to the faucet or store and get fresh, clean water. Unfortunately, 783 million people all across the world do not have this privilege. As stated by the Water Project, an organization which helps third world countries gain water access. As you may notice, I would like to share the next few minutes with you talking about water and water conservation. We as humans cannot live without water. Water is the cycle of life and all living organisms need water. In fact, adult bodies are approximately 60% water, as stated by the USGS Water Science School, and the Earth is 71% water, and even the air and ice are both made up of water, just different forms of water. Water is everywhere. That's when the water cycle comes into play. There are 3 types of water: gas, liquid, and solid. Gas is the air, liquid is water itself, and solids are ice. The water cycle starts with evaporation, which is when the sun heats up the water and it becomes a vapor. Then condensation occurs, which is when the vapor becomes bundled together and forms a cloud. The next step is precipitation, which happens when the cloud becomes too heavy and then it rains, and it repeats forever and ever. How do we know these things? We have hydrologists, people who dedicate their lives to the study of water, hydrology, and anything having to do with water. Did you know that water in its purest form is the compound H2O, meaning there are 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom? Generally, you won't find water in its purest form. Our planet is the only planet that can sustain liquid water. If our planet did not have the right temperature, we wouldn't be able to live here. For example, if we were on Neptune, an immensely cold planet, all the water would be frozen solid, while if we were on Mercury, all the water would be instantly evaporated. Water can come in many shapes and sizes, but it will always fill the shape of its container. Who are we kidding? Lakes are just super big puddles. Seriously, lakes are enormous, holding areas of fresh water. Rivers, creeks, and streams are similar, but have different names because of their sizes. A stream could be a little trickle of water in your backyard, while on the other hand, there are large rivers like the Cape Fear or Catawba rivers, both of which are here in North Carolina. There are more types of water, and one of them is groundwater. Groundwater is simply water that's underground. Groundwater starts life on the surface, but when it rains and the water moves through the soil, it's called infiltration. There are spaces between the dirt and rocks that allow water to flow through easily. Eventually, the water makes it to the rocks, where scientists say it percolates deeper into the earth. Yes, like a coffee pot. When the water can go no deeper, it creates an aquifer. An aquifer is an underground reservoir in the rocks. For example, when a farmer digs a well, they're digging an underground aquifer. In addition to farming's reliance upon underground aquifers, humans too need a lot of water. In fact, the suggested amount of water we should drink per day is 8 8-ounce glasses, which is also known as the 8x8 rule, according to healthline.com. Again, we are all fortunate enough to have water, but how can we help conserve water? We all know some common suggestions like turning off the water while you brush your teeth and taking shorter showers. But we need to also go a little further. While your shower is getting warm, catch the initial water in a bucket to pour on your houseplants. Check for leaky faucets or garden hoses with holes. Bathe your pets outside so all the runoff will go directly back into the ground. Purchase a toilet that is low flow. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, toilets are the biggest use of indoor water. Older toilets use about 6 gallons of water, while the newer low flow toilets use about 1.28 gallons per flush. Each flush adds up. If you live in California, you hear about droughts and rationing water. A drought is a period of below average precipitation given in a given region, resulting in prolonged shortages in the water supply, whether atmospheric, surface water, or groundwater. Don't forget about pollution seeping into our groundwater. Buried waste and landfills let hazardous material seep into the groundwater. It's not intentional. It happens naturally when the water drains through the waste and seeps into the land. Behind many homes are large containers called septic tanks. The environment also affects what the water looks like, tastes like, and what properties it has. Like at the ocean, we have salt water, while on a lake, we have fresh water. Also, 68.7% of the Earth's water is currently stored in the Arctic's glaciers and ice. Also, lots of water is absorbed into the soil. We all can help the cycle of life keep progressing by actually following through with a few of the water conservation practices that I just mentioned. Just think, in this room alone, there are a little over 20 people. If each of us were to save 5 gallons of water today, we'd be able to make a huge impact within 1 week, 1 month, or even 1 year. The most important thing is to follow through with our personal commitments and to help conserve water. I truly hope you all will help spread the message so a healthy water cycle will be able to carry far into the future. Thank you.
It is, again, my honor to be here tonight to recognize the achievements of these fantastic students. As I call your name, please come to the podium to receive what is a temporary certificate. Your permanent certificate will be, and your monetary award will be delivered to you or given to you at the Stewardship Banquet on April 24th. But again, please join me in applauding the great efforts of our students. And also, I'd like to applaud our judges. This is not easy work. We think it is, but it's difficult when you listen and are trying to give positive criticism to students, and that's important. So I'd like to thank them again. Okay. So at this time, I'm going to announce the third place winner, and you'll come up and get your certificate from Tammy, and we will do pictures at our spring banquet. So when we have your real certificate,
But you're welcome to take pictures.
you can take pictures if you want to. We're just not of me. All right. Number 3, our third place winner is Gavin Shue.
Congratulations.
Good job. Second place winner is Addison Klutz. And first place is Anthony Stevenson.
Put it on Facebook.
That's all right. You can't take too many pictures of your kids. To our first place public speaking winners, Tammy will send an email to your parents with details about the area public speaking competition in March. All contest winners are also invited to be recognized at the May Board of Commission meeting. Information about this meeting will be sent to you again by Tammy. Finally, contest winners will be invited to our Stewardship Banquet, as I said, on Tuesday, April 24th. Please look for an invitation from us at the beginning of April. I encourage you to come. We make it, those of you that have been there before, we make it as quick as we can, understanding it's a school night, but it's a fun evening of being able to recognize, once again, these gifted students, their parents, their teachers, so I would encourage you to be there if you can. And again, judges, thank you for your time this evening. Public speaking students, I invite you at this time, if you have time, to go meet the judges that can, give you some positive comments, as I know they will. And as we conclude here tonight, I want to commend all the participants again, as well as the rest of our participants across the county on the other contests that we have hosted. Through participating in this event and informing yourselves about the importance of soil and water, You are learning valuable lessons that will stay with you for life and help you become more informed citizens and decision makers. Thank you for your efforts, and we look forward to seeing you wherever you will go. And at this, I don't know if there's refreshments left, but my note says to invite anybody to take things home if you want to. So, all right, at this time, thank you.